Have you ever noticed the look in a child's eyes when they are truly excited about something they have just discovered? Their whole face lights up and they move with a kind of energy that seems endless. Now compare that image to the sight of a teenager sitting at a desk in a quiet room staring at a chalkboard while the clock on the wall ticks slowly toward the end of the day. In one world, the child is a scientist and an explorer. In the other world, the student is a passive observer waiting for life to begin. Most of us have spent thousands of hours in these quiet rooms. We have accepted it as a normal part of growing up. We call it school. But if we stop to really look at this experience, we might find something deeply troubling. We see a system that often feels like it is operating in a different century from the one we actually live in. We see millions of young people who are told that their potential is limited to how well they can remember facts for a single test. This is not just a small problem with a few schools. It is a sign that we have lost touch with the true purpose of learning. We often talk about fixing education like it is a broken toy that just needs a new battery. We think if we change the books or add more computers or give more tests, the problem will go away. This is the surface level of how we think about school. We view it as a place where information is moved from one head to another. We assume that if a student sits in a chair for enough hours, they will eventually be ready for the world. But the reality is that many students feel like school is a place they have to survive rather than a place where they can thrive. When we ask young people how they are doing, the answer is often a simple word. They say they are fine. But when you look at the data, you see that fine actually means bored and disconnected. As children get older, their love for learning often drops away. By the time they reach high school, only a small number say they feel in charge of their own journey. This is a quiet tragedy that happens every day in every neighborhood. We are watching the spark of curiosity fade away just when it should be burning the brightest. Why is this happening? There is a hidden assumption that school is meant to be a factory. Over 100 years ago, we designed schools to prepare people for predictable jobs on assembly lines. The goal was to make everyone the same. We wanted people to follow instructions and work in neat rows and move when the bell rang. For a long time, this system actually worked. It helped more people learn to read and it built a stable middle class. But the world has changed and our schools have stayed the same. We still sort and standardize students like they are parts in a machine. We assume that every child should learn the same thing at the same speed in the same way. This assumption ignores the fact that every human being is unique. It ignores the reality of the modern world where we need people who can think for themselves and solve complex problems. In a world shaped by artificial intelligence and rapid change, being a good follower is no longer enough. We need people who know how to collaborate and how to create and how to keep learning long after they graduate. The structural pattern of our current education system is built on top-down control. We often try to fix things by sending new rules from the government or by hoping for a hero teacher to save the day. But this pattern is exhausting for everyone involved. It ignores the wisdom of the people who are actually in the building every day. It ignores the parents and the students and the local businesses who know what the community really needs. When we build schools this way, they feel like foreign objects dropped into a neighborhood rather than a part of the community. This creates a gap between what happens in the classroom and what happens in the real world. A student might spend all day learning a math formula but never understand how that math could help them build a house or start a business. This lack of connection makes the work feel meaningless. It turns learning into a chore instead of a powerful tool for change. We need a new way to design these spaces. We need to move toward a community-based approach. This means starting by listening instead of telling. Imagine a school where the walls are not boundaries but bridges. Imagine a place in the middle of a busy shipyard where students work alongside designers and engineers. In this kind of school, they are not just reading about marketing or technology. They are creating real campaigns and solving real security issues for local companies. They are building a professional network while they are still in high school. This is not a dream. It is happening right now in places like Brooklyn and rural North Dakota. When you change the design, you change the outcome. You see a student who used to fall asleep in class suddenly become a master of a craft like blacksmithing because he found a purpose for the math and science he was learning. You see a child who struggles with their emotions find support from a friend in a calming space instead of being punished. This is what happens when we design schools around how people actually learn and live. We start to see that learning is a social and emotional process. It is not just about the brain. It is about the whole person. When a student feels safe and seen, they are ready to take risks and work hard. When they see that their work matters to someone else, their motivation comes from inside. We need to reframe our vision for what school can be. It should not be a place where we go to get a piece of paper. It should be a place where we go to discover who we are and what we can contribute to the world. We should view the 15,000 hours a young person spends in school as a sacred opportunity. This is the time when we shape our future society. What happens in the classroom today is exactly what will happen in our communities tomorrow. If we want a society that is creative and kind and resilient, we must build schools that reflect those values. This is not a one-time project. It is a muscle that we need to build together. We must constantly look for ways to evolve and grow along with the world. Technology like AI can help us do this by making learning more personal and immersive. But the heart of the change must always be human. It must be based on the relationships and the stories of the people involved. Think about your own life for a moment. Think about a time when you truly learned something that changed you. It probably did not happen because you were sitting in a row waiting for a bell. It probably happened because you were trying to solve a problem or build something you cared about. It happened because someone believed in you and gave you the space to explore. We can give this experience to every single child. We can move past the idea of fine and reach for something much better. We can create environments where students are engaged and thriving and ready to transform the world. This is not just a goal for educators. It is a goal for all of us. When we support schools that are rooted in the community, we are investing in the health of our democracy and the strength of our future. We are making sure that the potential of the next generation is not lost to boredom or silence. We are helping every young person find their spark and turn it into a fire. This requires us to be brave enough to walk away from the old factory model. It requires us to trust each other and to listen more deeply than we ever have before. The reward is a world where every student can stand up and say that they belong and that they are doing work that truly matters. If we truly committed to building schools around the natural curiosity of children instead of the rules of a factory, what would the world look like in 20 years?